Thank you so much for downloading the episode. It is our big 300, our 300th episode. Thank you so much for listening. On the show today, we talk about back to school. It is time. We also talk about penises in the news. Additionally, our ugly and awkward moments of the week. All of this sponsored by lipandclip.com. Thank you so much. Enjoy the show.
It's another uncensored look at the world around you from sisters who will say just about anything to anyone at any time. It's the Uggs. Jamie?
I don't know if he'll die, but he doesn't have a dick, so he might as well.
Paula?
One day that's going to be you, and there's going to be some young bitch trying to get pork chops.
Uncensored as always, it's time for the ugly truth.
Welcome to The Ugly Truth. This is the epic episode 300. 300!
A special high one for you all for episode 300. Sisters Who Podcast.
Yes, Sisters Who Podcast. It's always funny, 300 doesn't sound like a big number to me because we've been podcasting for about 5 years, which is actually low because when you listen to podcasters who've been doing this for 10 years, 11 years, you think, man, I thought this felt like a journey. And we're only at 300 and we've only been doing, and forever until January of this last year, we were only doing one show a week.
Yeah, really.
So that's really why it's so low. But for us, because our lives are so incredibly insane, 300 it's a major accomplishment.
It's a milestone.
It is. It is a milestone for us because, we know who we are. We lose interest. We get bored. We want to move on. We want to rest. We don't want to do stuff. So for us,
really. And we're not going to force ourselves to do anything.
We're not going to be impinged by discomfort. We're going to do it. We're just going to skip it. which is why only half the Uggs have college or high school diplomas. So, because the other half was not interested.
And the worst attendant at most of our jobs.
Tardies. You know what? Here's a perfect example. One of our sisters works for the county. And this was a long time ago when she first started working, and it's unionized. And so when they were doing a vote, they said, did you want the union to bargain on your behalf for more money or more time off? And Stephanie was literally the only one that said time off. More time off! She's like, more time off. Oh my God, please. She goes, fuck that. I want time off. I want to be at home.
I know.
It was so funny. But, really, when you think about it, that's really what everybody wants. I mean, how many Monday memes can we possibly have to stare at every Monday on social media or the television?
Well, the only reason why I wanted the time off is because I had little ones.
Yes.
And, they just are always getting sick or something like that, or not looking right, or,
it's true.
Throwing up or whatever it is. And, daycares won't take them like that. That's why I wanted the time off, was because, you burn through. They're just like, well, you get 5 sick days. I'm like, oh, good. I'll use them this week.
Yeah, really. It's can I just do that now? Can I just call in sick now? Stephanie did that. Stephanie's like, she's been there for a month. She's like, yeah, I'm not going to be there on Friday. It's just not going to do it. And then you see her on social media freewheeling it in San Francisco.
I know, with a drink in her hand.
Cheers to the weekend, everyone. I mean, that is so typical Ugg. But with all of that being said, we are getting a little bit of a respite because our children are finally back in school.
Yes.
It's the most wonderful time of the year. I love that commercial. It's such a classic.
Forget Christmas.
Yeah, well,
that's stressful.
The night before school starts is the most chaotic, exciting evening of all. Even for the kids.
Do you know I had to give the kids Benadryl to go
to
bed?
Malia took Benadryl.
They wouldn't go to sleep.
You're like, you guys have to be rested tomorrow.
I'm like, come here. I'm going to see this pink pill. You guys are going to split it.
Oh, that's hilarious. Did it work finally?
I don't know. I sent them to bed and then I went to sleep.
Oh, okay. Well, if they weren't screaming at anybody, it must have worked enough.
They were probably on their tablets for all I know.
Your experiences and my experiences are obviously incredibly different because your kids are young, although your son is now in middle school.
He is.
And my daughter is a senior in high school. And also, I don't know if we'll have time to really talk about it. Maybe next week, Wednesday's show, I'll talk about her driving. She's been driving now because she got her permit.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't really care what anybody says. I'm sure there are kids who are more than capable of getting their driver's license at 16, but where we live, the drivers are so goddamn aggressive here. It scares the crap out of me to put a kid out on the road before they're 18. It's just scary to me, and I don't know if I'm being super cautious or conservative about it.
Overprotective.
Yeah, but you know what? None of our kids got their license until they were 18.
Yeah.
All of the kids they got their permit at 16, but they did not get their license until they were 18. And I'm super grateful because my kids were not prepared to go out and battle the wages of the road. It's so dangerous, and people are just assholes. That's my problem.
I guess it just depends on where you go. When I was 16, I got my license, and mom was sending me to like the store and things like that. So I wasn't really going anywhere, or like a friend's house that actually it was kind of far. But see, I was an overly aggressive driver.
Yeah.
I couldn't understand why people didn't want to drive fast.
Well, I was telling Malia in the car when we were driving, I find that if she's paying attention and if she's just a smidge distracted by a conversation, she drives a whole lot better. So I'll tell her little stories or whatever. And I'm like, I drove so recklessly when I was a senior in high school. I'm so glad that I didn't kill myself because I was drag racing mom's car. Like
we all did.
Yeah.
And it was a stupid little Honda.
Freaking Honda Accord. It's like it was a 1986 Honda Accord in Champaign. I mean, like that's not a street car.
And not just that, but especially being alone, I had guys picking up on me all the time. I had a guy he wanted me to pull over.
Oh my God.
Can you imagine like if that happened to Malia?
I would be like,
so dangerous.
It is very dangerous. I remember one time I was driving down Greenback Lane, which is one of the main roads here where we live. And I was driving, and this guy finally got my attention. He was going the same speed as me in the other lane, and I turn and I look, and he had a sign that says, "You're gorgeous. Pull over." I'm like, "Fuck you!"
God.
I know. I'm like,
so
"What?"
sweet.
I'm like, oh, first of all, no. Second, no. I'm out of here.
Well, at least we had a good sense for stranger danger back then.
Well, yeah. I think when we were growing up and driving, like, it was tradition. You got your license when you turned 16 on your birthday.
Yeah.
But now kids aren't as quick to do that. I think it's because of Uber and, texting and Snapchat and all that stuff. And plus, they're in so many activities. They don't really need to go anywhere. They're already there. You know what I mean? So the drive to get their license at 16 for a lot of people is not there anymore. And I'm kind of okay with it, at least where we live, because people drive terrible here.
Well, and I think with our mom, it was partly selfish because she didn't want to drive us around.
Oh, God, no. She couldn't wait. She's like, "Are you ready? We're going."
Yeah. So getting our license, she's like, "Good, go, be gone. We'll see you when you get back. Your curfew's this."
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And she goes, "And make sure you go get milk for your sister before you get home." Just go to 7-Eleven. Here's $3. Just go get whatever. But, get the milk because she's going to need it. It was always for you.
Yeah.
But anyway, all right. So happy 300 to us. Okay. So yes, back to school. So was it eventful or was everything good?
Well, so we got the list for Ryan's school supplies pretty early because they sent out like this big newsletter.
Yeah.
He only has one teacher he doesn't like.
Oh, that's not bad.
His English teacher. And
okay.
Which I don't know why. I mean, like, what can you not like about your English teacher?
Oh, maybe they're sticklers for grammar or spelling or something. I don't know. It could be something. Plus, girls love their English teachers because we're right brained. So we're creative. Oh, we love it. Boys are like, oh, my math teacher kicks ass. Because math is easier for most boys.
Or science or something.
Or science. I like science though, but yeah.
Yeah. So
anyway, so he doesn't like his English, but you don't know why.
He didn't really say. Yeah, he elaborated and wrote an essay about it.
He gave you very specific detail.
Right.
Yeah, that's going to be what you watch. His grade check, you'd be like, "Why do you have a D+ in English?" It's Mrs. So-and-so. He won't call her a bitch until the spring, but right now he'll use appropriate terms.
She doesn't like me.
Mom. She has standards.
I was kind of disappointed because he doesn't really have any classes with his friends from elementary school.
Well, you know why, right?
Why?
Because he's smarter than they are.
Maybe.
It happened to me. I ended up in all these other classes with all these other people that I had no idea who they were, and they were not people I would want to be friends with, because all of my friends ended up being with all the popular kids in the average classes. It sucks. The only great equalizer is PE.
That is true. And so he didn't have to dress out yet, but he has his PE clothes.
Yeah, next week.
Yeah, that's what he said.
Yep.
They don't do it this week.
Right.
And then they have 2 different lunches.
Yes.
And so he got the early lunch. And so he has like a couple friends, but like his core friends, they're all in late lunch.
Yeah, that's pretty.
And so I'm just like, he's totally gonna like stop being friends with his old friends.
No, he won't. They'll be friends still, and he'll make more friends. That's kind of nice. He'll have more friends. He's not an asshole, and he's not a dork. You know, he's not one of those kids that no one wants to like know. He's tall and blonde and gorgeous. He's clearly athletic. Once he goes out for basketball, they'll be like, oh, God, we can only hope he's clumsy because he's really tall, you know?
Yeah, he is tall.
The coach is going to look at him going, oh, guard, awesome. Come, son. Let me see your arm span.
So then we got Olivia's list when they finally posted the class list.
Does she have any friends?
She has some friends. Yeah.
Oh, thank God.
I mean, her really close friend is in a different class, so that was disappointing. But they still, because they all have recess together, she can still play with her at recess.
Well, that's good.
She had to get a binder this year. And she's like, Mom, she's like, why do I need a binder? And I'm like, I don't know. And she's like, I don't want one.
What?
She's like, in first grade, they gave you a piece of paper and said, fill this out. And it's 1 + 1. There you go.
Well, she sounds like an UGG already.
She was totally upset that, this sounds like she might have to do real work because she's a binder.
My God. Well, it's to keep you organized, number one. But can't she pick whatever she wants? Or are they being strict, like, it has to be solid, it can't be a distraction, no characters?
They didn't say no characters, but it had to be a 1-inch binder. She had to have 5 tabs.
Yeah, so she's going to organize all of her classes in the one binder.
They had to be labeled, but of course we've already lost the labels.
Oh, no. We'll just write in Sharpie on the tab.
Yeah, that's probably what we'll do. Or
that's
I'll
what I always did.
Cut out paper or something like that. But
God. Yeah, well, gosh, they're starting them kind of young. That's like 4th grade stuff, usually.
I know, right? So
this teacher is very, very, is she young or old?
Old.
Okay, so she's old school. Like, no, we're keeping, well, first of all, it's to keep her organized so she can just get 27 binders and just go to the tab and see if their homework is there and go, nope, it's not here. Next.
Yeah.
It's instead of having a big pile of papers to go through.
Yes.
Yeah, that's really funny. Malia hates it too. She resented taking a backpack to school for so many years. She's like, what am I supposed to do with this? And I said, keep all of your items in it. This is a girl who hates purses and barely wants to take her wallet. And I said, you have to have the wallet because you have a permit now and you have an ID and an ATM card and cash. You have to have a wallet. And then when you start driving by yourself, you're going to need some kind of purse to contain the keys. She hates it. And she would lug her books around instead of a backpack forever. And I said, what is wrong with you? You're not being encumbered. She's like, I just don't like it on me. She hated it. And when PE came, I said, well, just get like a PE bag and, shoes or whatever. And she's like, no, she would not buy like boots or anything other than the shoes that she would wear in PE because she didn't want to be encumbered with a set of second pairs of shoes. Like, not at all.
That is funny.
And Olivia's probably going to be the same way. She's like, I am not wearing a cute outfit just to simply remove it when I have to dress out every day, in PE.
She bought a new dress yesterday to wear to school, but she wore it with tennis shoes.
Of course she did. She doesn't want to be unencumbered. I can't run in those. Oh, God, Paula. Wait till she's in 7th grade and has to dress out.
I don't know what she's going to do.
She's going to hate her life. She's going to be like, what do you mean I have to wear this? Is this the only color this comes in?
I know. And she's going to be like I was, like, you know,
Tiny.
a little A cup, B cup, you know.
Well, now, like I was telling you before the show, you know, by 4th grade, you kind of know what everybody's going to look like. You know, the chubby girls are chubby, the tall girls are tall, the thin girls are thin. You know, so then when junior high comes, it's ×2, usually, unless somebody has a puberty spurt and becomes like a butterfly. You know, there's always that one girl who basically sails through puberty that everybody stares at. Like, how did she escape acne and greasy hair? Like, I hate her.
Yeah, really.
But the rest of us are, you know, gross. Olivia's going to be like, I'm not changing next to this girl.
Yeah,
sucks.
right.
But don't let her be the girl that goes to the bathroom and changes in the stall.
I won't. I'll
Nobody
make her
likes that girl.
suffer with the rest of them. Maybe I'll let her get a tattoo.
Oh, yeah, that'll go over well. Let her get a belly button ring. Oh, your parents are very permissive. Party at Olivia's. God. Oh, so as a senior, they have all these traditions. And I don't remember all of these traditions because I wasn't much of a joiner. And by the way, I did not go to my high school reunion. I'm okay with it. I'm fine with it. There was only one person there that showed up that I really would have liked to have seen. And I can reach out to him I could reach out to him and say, I'm sorry I missed you, you know, but other than that, you know, it was, I mean, there was a lot of people that I knew, obviously, but I just was like, it's fine. You know, it was our anniversary weekend. We actually ended up going out to dinner with the kids and stuff, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. So it was cool. I mean, everybody looks amazing. The women are aging gracefully, and the men are either, you know, nobody looks like they did in high school. I'll just say that.
Yeah.
A lot of bald heads.
Everybody looks the same.
Everybody has lost their hair completely, or they're choosing to shave it at this point because they don't want the receding hairline. Except for the one guy that I wanted to see. He looks exactly the same. He's still equally as adorable as he was back then. I've known him since 2nd grade.
Right.
He was just the sweetest guy. He was so great. Actually, his whole family's great. And he's been married. I think he's been married as long as I have. And so they're super happy. And I think he's coaching baseball now. And he's just a really cool dude. And so, I mean, I would have loved to have seen him. Anyway, so there's a lot of traditions as a senior. And so she has senior sunrise. And so they all go to the school at right before sunrise. And they all gather together to watch the sunrise as their first day as seniors. And then at the end of the year, they do a senior sunrise the day before graduation. So they open and close this, or maybe it's a sunset they do at the end of the year. I think they do a sunset.
I could do a sunset. I'm not sure about the sunrise business.
Well, Malia's not a morning person, but somehow she was able to get a coveted spot of 0 period, which means that she gets out of school every day at 1 o'clock now. Because she worked her ass off all year, or all 4 years, or 3 years, I should say. So now she only has 4 classes because she's met all the requirements for graduation, except for the final year that you have to have English. And there's one senior, you know, there's a required senior class that you can only take your senior year, that kind of stuff.
Right.
But she's like doing art and TA, and, you know, it's a real breezy schedule. But she has to be there by 7 every morning. This girl is not a morning person. And she had 18 tardies last year for first period. The teacher finally said last year, she goes, I have to give you detention. I can't keep letting you slide. At some point, I have to punish you for this. So at her 16th tardy, she gave her detention. This was before Christmas break, by the way. This was not the whole year. This was only the first half of the school year she had 18.
Oh, my God.
Hey, it runs in the family, man.
Yeah, I know.
It does. We are not morning people. So...
And that carries with you. I cannot be on time to a job to save my life.
You know, I have kind of cured myself of it because somebody that I respect, and I can't remember who it was, somebody I respect said, being late is the utmost disrespect as far as I'm concerned, because what you're saying is you don't value anybody's time other than your own. And I'm like, you know what, that is true. And I feel like an asshole. So with the exception of parties, where I'm always casually late because that's kind of the standard, when it comes to like appointments like dentist and doctor, I'm always there 15 minutes early now because I just can't get that thought out of my mind.
But I don't value anyone else's time but my own.
I know you don't. I didn't either forever. But then finally I was like, you know what? I would save myself so much grief and actually anxiety, to be honest with you, because I get stressed about it.
Trying to zip down the freeway as fast as you can to get there.
Yeah, and I hate that feeling, and I've had it so many times in my life, so I just figured out a way to do it. The other thing is I've modified all of my shit that I have to do is in the afternoon. I don't make myself do morning stuff unless absolutely necessary.
True.
Anyway, so back to school. Yes, it was great. Everybody had a great day. Daryl and I went to breakfast. Did you do anything? Did you go home and rest? Did you go home and go back to bed?
Actually, I didn't even take the kids to school that day. Victor took them to school. I took the pictures and everything like that. And then I stayed home because I just figured, not that we were running behind, but I wasn't presentable. So, besides, Olivia had a voice to everyone. Dad's taking us to school.
Oh, really? So, okay.
There's many times that, I avoid hurt feelings because,
yes.
I was just mom, but,
Well, that never, ever goes away.
The hero.
The hero's taking us to school.
The king on the top of the mountain with the aura is taking us to school.
Be like, you have no idea what you're talking about, but all right, your dad can take you today.
Maybe they will when they're older, but...
They will, trust me. Everybody becomes human suddenly when they're 19. I did not take Malia to school either, obviously, because it was senior sunrise. So Daryl, who wakes up at 5 a.m. every morning with his yawns and wakes me up as well.
His yawn?
God, he yawns so fucking loud. I will wake up and hear him going, ooh. And I'm like, well, I guess he's awake. And he always says, well, I guess I could get up. I'm like, well, I'm not suggesting otherwise because I don't want to push you out of bed, but...
Well, you can get up or you can shut up.
Pretty much. I mean, whatever you want to do. I mean, it's up to you. So we went to breakfast and we went to a place where they serve alcohol. So we had a mimosa and Bloody Marys. And it's our tradition. We do the first day of school breakfast. And this year is our last first day of school.
I know.
We're sitting there and I had a mimosa and we were eating our omelets and he said, oh man, he goes, it's going to be so great because Natalie's coming out to visit in October for Malia's senior night for football. And on senior night, which I hope you guys can come to, by the way, because it's super fun.
Okay.
So they honor all the seniors. The girls get sashes and they get flowers and they introduce them on the field. Normally what they do is the families walk with the student. And then you get a picture taken and the whole crowd cheers and it's a really cool honor. So Daryl tells me, he goes, yeah, it's going to be really great. All of our kids will be together and we'll all be walking as one family. Oh God, one family on the field. And I literally started bawling in the restaurant.
Are you crying right now?
Yes. So
oh my
stupid.
God.
I know. It is so dumb. I was like, what the hell is wrong with me? It's like, what the fuck? And then finally, I was like, shit, she's graduating.
Mm-hmm.
So stupid. I know you're rolling your eyes at me, you jerk.
No, I'm not.
Lies. You
I'm
are
not.
Too. It's so crazy.
I just can't imagine what it would be like because she's literally the last one.
I know. So anyway, all right, you all got to hear me cry over my child. I feel like an idiot, but it was such an emotional thing when he said it. I'm like, oh my God. It was like, what the hell is happening? It's just, it goes so fast. Like I have a friend whose daughter's in first grade and I said, you will blink and they will be in high school. It goes so goddamn fast. It doesn't feel like it when you're in it. It's like when you're in high school, it's glacial. You're like 4 years. I'm like, God, we're never going to get to senior year. And then suddenly you're there and it's like as fast as you can stand it, you're like, oh my, holy shit, what am I going to do as an adult? It's like that fast.
I know. I can't believe Ryan's in junior high school.
Paula, 6 years from now, he'll be out of school.
I feel so lost.
This is the time when, well, it's volatile right now, but this is the time where you actually become a parent because before sixth grade, it's just about, nobody cares what brand you're wearing. Nobody cares what you look like. They don't even make fun of kids who wear glasses anymore. Like it used to be, if you wore glasses, people laughed at you. Now it's not like that. It's completely different. But 7th and 8th grade is when all the, people turn into losers because they have bad parents and stuff. And you just have to really be careful.
I remember when Crystal was here and she was in 8th grade, like everyone was a lesbian or gay or, now people are going to be pansexual. You know, it's like, I'm in love with my backpack, or
Yeah, it's like, it's my support pony.
it's, you know, and this is, I don't even know if cutting is a thing still.
Oh, yeah. It is.
And
absolutely.
it scares me. But
Well, there's just, you know what? And when you say all of those things, it's not that those things you're judging. It's that they are literally thrust into this world and they have to be aware of everything. Suddenly they know about everything they're innocent, and then suddenly they know everything.
And that's what I think upsets me the most is that, you
The
know,
innocence.
not that we kept him sheltered, but
No, you didn't.
It just, his life wasn't like that, you know. And I feel like, you know, now I'm sending him to prison and he's going to come out another man.
Yeah, he goes in a boy and comes out a man. It's true. Well, they're just exposed to so much, and you either keep up with it or you fall behind. There's no in between, unfortunately. So he'll be. I don't think Ryan will have a problem. He will acclimate, and just because you're aware of things that you never heard of before doesn't mean that you have to have a reaction to everything. He'll just be like, yeah. And, you know, watch. He'll be like, yeah, I have a friend, you know, I have a trans friend. And you're like, you do? You're like, who is it? You're all, it's Chris. And you're like, oh, okay. Great.
You mean Christine?
No, Mom, Chris. You know what I mean? Anyway, so yes, so back to school. Tears were shed because I feel like my job is coming to an end. I relate so much to Beverly Goldberg. I can't even tell you.
I know.
I swear, it's like my job is ending, but it's just changing.
Yeah.
This week, Paula, I swear to God, I've seen all of my children more in this past week than I have in a month.
Wow.
All of them, except for Natalie, of course, but all of them.
Right.
They've been in and out of my house. I have fed them. I have, you know, comforted them. I've given them money, bananas, you know, whatever. I've taken care of their animals. It's been insane. It's like, oh God, it's just, so the job changes a bit, but they still need their mom. So that's good to know.
That is good to know.
Really quick, I just noticed that there was a lot of penis stuff in the news lately.
Penis?
Weird penis stuff in the news, and I'm gonna just Reader's Digest version the stories that I've been reading. The first one was, and of course this did not happen in the United States. This happened in another country. A man who was in his 70s ignored sores on his penis and the side of his penis in his groin area.
Oh, that's a smart idea.
Yeah, right. For so long that by the time he went to the doctor, because he was in excruciating pain, his penis fell off.
Oh my God.
It rotted off. I know. Isn't that
And
horrible?
guys are usually pretty,
They baby those things.
like
It's their jewels.
they can get like road rash on their knees or whatever, but if they notice like a wayward hair or something, they're going to the doctor.
They're like, what is this? I'm like, it's an ingrown hair on your nutsack. You're fine. You know, scrub it with some scrub. You'll be good. But yeah, they're very particular usually. But apparently the sore started on the side, like on the groin area. So he ignored it. It got infected. He ignored it. They asked him, they begged him to go to the doctor because he was in pain. And then it moved towards his penis. And then finally he went and they said, oh, you've got cancer. You have skin cancer.
Oh, that's what it was?
Yes, it was a malignant skin cancer. And what was really sad is it was super curable, super treatable if he had just gone early.
So was he going to die now?
I don't know if he'll die, but he doesn't have a dick. So he might as well.
Well, he might as well. That's what most men say is if they lose the use of their penis, they might as well die.
Just put me in the ground. So yeah, he has no penis of his own doing. That's what drives me crazy. It's like, so you have the your jewels that you covet and you protect all the time, and then you have the fear and the refusal to go to the doctor because most men hate going to the doctor.
Yeah.
Like they'd rather die than they're like dogs.
Literally.
They're like animals. They're like, no, I'm fine. And then they die because they refuse to go to the doctor.
They'll gnaw off their own paw.
They'll get tools to fix their wounds before they'll go to a doctor. You know, I mean, how many times do we see our dad literally like cut off his own cast or, you know, sew up his own wounds? I mean,
Or when he used to get those blood blisters, he'd get his his drill with a really pointy, like
The super micro drill bit.
drill bit and then
drill it?
drill a hole in it just to release the pressure.
Yeah. I mean, that's what men do. That's what they do. Except, oh my God. I forgot I was going to tell you about this. Okay, hold on. Let me tell you. Daryl hurt himself.
Doing what?
Dishes. Oh my God. Okay. Forget the penis. I forgot to tell. I wanted to tell you the story so bad.
Okay.
So the other day, this was like 4 or 5 days ago. It's been about that long. Daryl was doing dishes and it was slipped. The bowl slipped and he went to grab it. And so in doing so, trying to grab it, it shattered, and it shattered into his hand with some velocity. So he actually has several cuts on his hand.
Oh.
From porcelain. So they were blunt cuts. They weren't like glass. And so I didn't hear him because I was upstairs dicking around. I had just taken a shower. I was blow drying my hair. I was doing a mud mask. I was like, do, do, do. And I was just upstairs enjoying my life. All of a sudden I hear this, Jerry! And I was like, what? He comes up and he's got, paper towels. He's like, I cut myself. I need you to look at it. I'm like, oh, okay. So I finished doing what I'm doing and I come sauntering down and he's like, I'm bleeding through here. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm coming. I'm like, I don't know. So he opens up his hand and he has a nice big cut under his thumb, like in the padding of his thumb there. And then his pinky, and on the side of his pinky, there's some cuts. And they weren't even bleeding that bad because they were like a blunt force cut. You know what I mean? It wasn't like a glass or a knife.
It wasn't like a thin, like, blade cut.
Yes. Which, I mean, I'm sure I'm sure very painful.
But you could probably put Band-Aids on it.
Yes. And so
okay.
I said, well, let me look at it. And I said, okay, well, we need to get some of this blood off so I can tell where the cut really is. And so he puts his hand under the thing and then it hurts. And so he shakes his hand and there's blood everywhere. There's bloody water everywhere. I'm like, okay,
God.
Stop shaking.
Let's not do that.
Please let me just look at it. So I'm looking at it. I'm like, okay, now I have never had a problem with blood or cuts or anything. It does not affect me the way it affects other people, because some people just can't stand the sight of blood and gore and stuff. So I was looking at it. I'm like, all right. I'm like, well, I don't think you're going to need stitches. They're not gaping, so we just need to like bind them up or whatever. So I'm trying to work on it. And he's like, can you hurry up, please? And I'm like, excuse me? And I look at him. Paula, he is white as a ghost.
Oh, that's right. He has problems with like blood and pain and such.
And the pain is I think the pain is fine, but he can't do blood. And I told him that. I go, you just have a problem seeing blood. And he goes, no, I don't. That wasn't it at all. And I said, okay, well, I'm not going to argue with a man in a panic attack. I mean, he was sweating through his shirt. He was so upset. And I'm like, all right. So Paula, I was such an asshole. I started laughing at him. When I was putting on the Band-Aid. I know, I felt like such a dick. So I'm sitting there and he has to put his head between his arms while I'm working on his arm or his hand. And he's sitting there and he's like, I need to lay down. And I said, well, hold on. Let me do this first so we can get this done. And so I'm putting on the Band-Aid and I start to laugh. And he's like, what? Are you laughing at me? I go, no, I'm nervous. I'm just nervous. And he's like, oh. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm such a dick. I'm such a dick. Why am I laughing at this man right now who has seen me go through a lot of panic for no damn reason? And so I get it all done and he had to lay down. Paula, he was traumatized for hours.
Really?
Hours. Yeah. I go, you look awful. He goes, what do you mean? He was walking around later. I go, you just look like you've been through the mill. And he's like, really? And I go, yeah. And then I felt bad. I'm like, God, you really feel terrible. And I felt terrible after that. But
did you have any orange juice or something?
Did you give him a drink?
Like something,
give him a little sugar.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, he did have some juice.
Okay.
He did have some juice. But the thing is that, and so I felt really bad. And I told him later, I said, I'm sorry I laughed at you. I think I was just trying to break the tension or something. I don't know. I think what happened in my mind, I'm like, this isn't really that bad.
Right.
But that's still, for me, it's not that bad. But for him, he's traumatized. So I'm like, it's not nice. And so I felt bad about that. Of course, like a day or two later, he starts like driving. He'll go, ow. stuff like that. So he did it again in the car. I said, all right, we get it. You're injured. God.
Right.
He's like, oh, well, excuse me for having a cut. And I'm like, because it's stretched open when I grab the steering wheel. I'm like, yeah, tell it to somebody who cares.
God, I would have just told him to go to the doctor.
I am such a bitch. Oh my God, I have no pay. I don't care. When he sneezes, I get mad at him. I'm like, who am I? It's like, I'm so
You
glad.
get mad when he sneezes?
Paula, it's so loud. It's so jarring. God.
How did you guys make it to 20-something years?
I know. Well, like he sneezed in his hand, he sneezes his hand in the car, and then he immediately grabbed the steering wheel.
Oh!
And then I just
He
looked
didn't
at him
even like wipe it on his leg?
No. And I looked at him and he goes, what? I go, you just sneezed. He's like, yeah. And I said, and then you put your hand back on the wheel. He goes, I have the one finger that I didn't sneeze on touching the steering wheel. And I'm like, I don't accept it. I'm like, he goes, well, I could have sneezed all over the car. I go, you kind of did. You kind of did. Anyway. Wow. Yeah, that's been my week. So stupid. Okay, well, we're running out of time, so let's go ahead and go to our ugly and awkward moments of the week.
The other day, the kids and I, we have like dance parties in the car when we're driving and stuff like that. And so the kids and I were at a stoplight waiting to turn left, and we were rocking out to, I don't know what it was. I want to say it was like Metallica or something like that. So Olivia's headbanging in the back seat, and Ryan's, playing air guitar or something like that. And I'm just, doing whatever I'm doing. And so we're just doing all this stuff, waiting for the light to turn green. And this van next to me, he looks over and he's smiling. He rolls down his window. And then he says, hey, I'm like, what? So what? And so I roll down my window and he's like, your light's green. I'm like,
oh. Oops, sorry. You thought he was going to comment on your dance party.
Or I didn't know what he was going to say.
Great song.
Like, right on.
Yeah, and you're like, yeah, join the party. Your light is green.
I'm like, oh. And there was no one behind me.
Luckily.
To honk or something like that. So I'm like, oh.
That is so funny.
So I went.
Oops, okay. Bye. That's so funny. That's good. That's a funny one. I like that. That's a cute, funny, awkward moment. I like it.
Yeah.
Mine is not cute and awkward. Mine is mean.
Uh-oh.
Of course, because I'm mean. So, but on accident. I'm never outwardly like trying to be mean to people. It just happens on accident. Usually what it is I don't know. I don't have an inside voice. And so the people who shouldn't be hearing it hear it. That's pretty much what it is. So I battled a migraine for about 3 days this week. And so finally, even though I had a migraine, I said, we have to go to the grocery store. We have no food in this house. We need to go. So Daryl's like, well, I'll go with you. So we went. And for some reason, the store we go to is surrounded by a community that has predominantly retired people in it. Uh-huh. It's a little more affluent. And it's just, for whatever reason, they all congregated to this one subdivision and they all live around this store that we go to. And so we went in, and sometimes in stores, I don't know if you've ever noticed this, but there's this center of gravity where everybody tends to just suddenly, they're all intersecting in this one aisle or right at the end aisle of a store, and then suddenly you're surrounded by people for some odd reason. It happens to me, occasionally, but there's always like this center of gravity where everybody is. So Daryl and I are trying to get some freaking pork chops by the pork section, and we turn around to try to get out, and we are surrounded by very elderly people, not just one or two, but like 4 or 5. And they're all over 80. And there's nothing wrong with any of that. I'm actually grateful that they're mobile and that they're getting their own groceries and stuff. I mean, it's great. But, like they're in their house dresses and I don't know. I mean, it's just not ideal. But they're there and they're moving. So that's great for them. But I didn't give a shit because I had a migraine.
Yeah.
So I'm standing there, and Daryl gave me a look. I go, what? And he said, well, there's just a lot of people here. And I go, yeah, it's like we all congregated, decided to get pork chops at the same time. And I said, we need to get out of this circle of death. And I said it really loud. And I wasn't thinking of the age factor at all, except an old lady gave me the side eye. And we're walking away. I go, do they think I meant because they're all old? Really loud. He's like, well, they do now. I was like, that's not what I meant.
Assuming their hearing aids are turned up, I believe so.
Yes. I'm like, oh, I'm an asshole. Sorry, everyone. You just like, sorry, I don't think you're all old in circle of death.
I think it's great you're out shopping.
I think it's wonderful that you're out here mobile. No, I just was like, oh, God, whatever. Well, they are the circle of death. And I just kept walking.
God, but one day that's going to be you, and there's going to be some young bitch. Just,
I know.
Trying to get pork chops.
You know what? No, it won't. I won't do that. I'm not going to impinge my life on society. If I'm old, I will send someone to go get my things. I'll be mobile at my house.
They probably have one of those little buses. That just pulls up to the front and drops them off. They're all on their little rascal scooters.
Yes. No scooter people. Thank God.
Oh.
No scooters. So that's a bonus. But yeah, and it was just the clog of people and baskets. It had nothing to do with their ages. They just happened to all be old. I should say, because I'm not a baby. But anyway, I want yours to win because it's positive and uplifting.
Oh, thanks.
So you win this week. Plus, you didn't have one last week, so you get bonus for that.
Yay!
So I want to hear about your Grease stuff, but we're out of time, so maybe we'll add it to next week's outline.
I think that's good.
Okay, cool. So yeah,
Grease is celebrating its 40th anniversary.
Is it really 40 years? Mm-hmm. That's insane. That's insane.
Can you believe that?
No, I can't. I love that movie.
I wonder if that means it came out the year I was born.
I thought it came out in 1977.
Oh, maybe it did.
But maybe 1978. I don't know. But it was the late 1970s, though. Well, obviously, if it's 40 years, I mean, so 1978, yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody, for joining us this Sunday. Hopefully, you have a good start to your first day of school with your kiddos. Make sure if you still need office supplies, go to Amazon. They have good deals. So go to the Ugly Truth page and click on our Amazon button and do some shopping. And again, if you want to freshen up your look, go to Avon and purchase some makeup for your overage child, not your little ones. We don't want any of those weird beauty pageant kids.
Oh my God, no John Benet Ramsey's.
No, don't say that.
Why? Because she's dead?
She was murdered, Jamie.
But they look okay, no boo-boos. Or whatever that little girl's name is.
I don't know.
I heard that she's going to be on Junior Dancing with the Stars.
For what?
Dancing. The little girl. What's the little girl's name? Piglet or something?
I have never watched that show a day in my life.
Well, who's Boo Boo? Who's Honey Boo Boo? Is that the mother?
I don't know. No, I think it's probably the child.
You know what? I hate that whole thing. I hate that whole thing. That
came out. You know what? Actually, I think it came out because she used to do child pageants.
She did pageants, and she was like a darling. That little girl somehow was winning all the pageants.
She was winning?
Yes. She didn't look the way she did now. She was cute and little. So,
interesting.
Yeah. I have no idea about that family. It's crazy. We shouldn't even know they exist, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I mean, really. But then, we wouldn't have our upcoming podcast. So I'm not watching it. Neither one of us, right?
No, that's not included.
We're not doing Honey Boo Boo shit. Okay, good.
No. My eyes would bleed.
I couldn't get through it. I think I've watched a total of 5 minutes of it.
Just the previews is enough for me.
I just can't. I can't with it.
It's like when you want to watch porn, but then you actually, just look at the cover and it's like, that's enough.
I don't need any more of this. Yeah, okay. Sorry.
Okay, so anyways, check out some Avon and purchase some for your little honey squiglets or whatever they're called. Other than that, have a good week. We will see you on Wednesday. Bye.
Bye.
That's a wrap. Thanks for listening and sharing the show. See you next time on The Ugly Truth.